What's going on, guys? So this is going to be a little bit of a different video, but I hope you guys appreciate it or like it or whatever. Anyways, so real quick disclaimer, this video is brought to you by Eek Games. Eek Games is making, well, they're pushing the boundaries and making adult games. They were nice enough to provide a key for their game, Bloop, House Party. So thank you to Eek Games for providing me a key to play their game House Party. So I kind of want to go into this with an unbiased perspective and a biased perspective, as well as my opinions. So there's going to be quite a bit to this video. Hopefully it's not going to run too long. So for starters, House Party is a game by Eek Games where it doesn't implicitly say that your goal is to sleep with the women in the house party. It kind of just becomes a sidebar thing after you realize you are capable of doing that thing. But for like the first portion of the game, I found myself more interested in messing with the people at the party, kind of like the prankster of the group. So Catherine was a very mean character in the game initially, and later I ended up like spiking her drink with laxatives, which ultimately led to the Stephanie ending, I believe her name was, where you sleep with Stephanie. And I thought that was funny in a way. Like I had to like pick and choose my choices to get that ending, and it was pretty structured in how it pushed the envelope to get to that point. So you know, like the options there were very cool. Ultimately, when I had my first like a really adult encounter in the game, I was kind of like, okay, whoa, because I hadn't been anticipating it. So this is like one of the first adult games I've ever played, 18 plus. Like, I guess you could even say it's like a porn game, where these kind of events fall into place. And after that, I started a new game, and I went back to like messing with people, and I started messing with the character Ashley, and there was more adult content there where you were stealing somebody's diary, and then you were talking to her sister, and then you had an opportunity to get the sister to fall in love with you and things like that. Very over-the-top gameplay, I would say, where things move at a very, very rapid pace, especially considering that the game kind of has like a we're not drinking vibe to it, even though there are references to drugs, there are references to alcohol, there are references to that straight up reference meth directly in the game with the one character Derek, who's your close friend actually in the game. So you know, there is that. So the game actually has like 3 different story structures. I don't think I'm gonna go through them all. I might load it up and play it, but to be completely honest, and if Eek Game is watching this video or has never ever does watch this game, I just want to kind of attest to them, as even though this was a short game, I think you guys have a lot of potential here, especially with the team that you have. Their voice acting is extremely good. The AI interaction is extremely good. Although there's not a lot of people at the house party, when you're running around the house, they're moving around and interacting with each other without you even really knowing about it. I know when I was running through like the doors, I noticed, and it actually said that there was like a audible argument occurring in the other room, and I was able to listen in and run over there and actually get more information on characters than I was expecting, and that actually created dialogue options later. So I just want to kind of attest to the fact that Eek Games, although you guys are making games that I personally wouldn't purchase or go out of my way to play, you guys have some really talented people on your team doing things that other video game franchises can't really nail. And that's humanizing characters. They don't feel like robots. Like, they're definitely things that you could do with the animations and the physics engines and your modeling if your technology was just better. Like, I can only imagine what this game would look like if you had produced it in a photorealistic style in like Unreal 4. Like, people could have played this and been like, this is really realistic. Like, you probably could have pushed like 2K graphics and made people like almost uncomfortable with how realistic it was. There were little things in the animations that I didn't care for, like clipping and things like that. I would have liked more of a fabric appearance or something along those lines, and it felt like some of the characters had their clothes like literally painted on. If you were facing one direction and then turn around, like the dress would like fly up, and it was weird. It didn't break the immersion of what the game was trying to produce, so I mean ultimately that's fine. But that's really just my critical analysis. I would really like to see EK games be known for something else. I could see them doing like a small RPG game. Maybe it's a scavenger hunt like this game. Essentially feels like it really does feel like a scavenger hunt directly. Like you're spending a majority of your time looking for items and looking for the dialogue cues to move the character and move the story forward to figure out what the hell's going on and learn about the characters around you. Now, one of the things I can say I really enjoyed was it wasn't just jumping right into the sexual acts, as it were. You actually have to like build a chemistry with the characters in a way and really know what to say to specific characters. Like, one of the reasons why I was super interested in getting Catherine to like me was because she was just out of nowhere did not like you right out of the gate. Like, she just had nothing to do with you, and then you learn like she's not as wound tight as you would think. Like, there's a portion where you have to take a picture of her topless to get alcohol for the group or for her or whatever, because she's mad at her boyfriend and things like that, and that pushes along this character development where maybe she's not as goody two-shoe as you think. So there's interesting humanizing of characters there, and as you experience the party more, you see the people more, and you see why the characters are reacting the way they do to each other, especially with them only knowing each other from school or work or from just being around town, or their sisters, friends of another. So it created like an interesting dynamic where you're breaking out of your own awkwardness to like get the party going in a way. And then I also noticed, like, as you started talking to different people and the friendships went up, they would start congregating in different areas as a group instead. Like, there would be more people in the garage playing beer pong. There would be more people out in back in the hot tub or by the fire or hanging out in the gazebo. They started to exit the building more. They would dance in the living room and things like that. Frank was the only character that just kind of sat in the one room. So I didn't get too much time into this game, mainly just because I couldn't. Like, I just really couldn't invest too much time into this. There wasn't much I could produce for my show, as this is a mature game. Although my streams, I consider them mature, and I don't really have a problem with like streaming an adult game. I don't really have a platform to stream to you an adult game. I don't know what EK Games is hoping to do with their engine or whatever they were doing, because although they're going to reach quite a lot of people with this game, and they're going to get pretty good reviews and things like that, this game can't be on Steam, and it has already been removed. I mean, the censorship, it was very easy to remove. It was just one line of code, and I just need to be clear, like, if this game was entirely censored, you would completely remove one populace from wanting to play this game. If this game had no censorship, you would remove an entire another populace in this game. So by censoring it, but also making it extremely easy to remove, you got this weird dynamic. So, and good on them for considering that when producing the game, because they knew what their audience was. It was gamers. It was weird gamers who were just looking for a weird title to play that provides some promiscuous endings and things like that. So, you know, at least they did what they were trying to capture. Now, that doesn't mean like the scenes were in any way good. The animation and everything is weird. Seeing those parts in a virtual reality space. I guess it wasn't virtual reality. I guess it would just be virtual space because you're not wearing a headset or anything. It was weird. I didn't feel uncomfortable or anything like that. Like, I am an adult. I'm 25. Like, I've seen all this before. It's nothing new. There are little things that I had qualms with the game. The characters, like if one character was naked in the room and you like achieved that ending, but you weren't really ready to end the story. Maybe you wanted to go talk to other characters and see if you can get multiple of them naked and things like that. There was no opportunity to like, have them react to each other in a weird way. Like if you just left a character alone naked, they didn't get redressed or anything like that. Or if another character walked in, they didn't really react in a human way. It was just kind of like felt thrown together. One of the things I was really hoping to do was actually do that kind of prank where I was like pushing people into rooms where another character was naked, and I was hoping to be like, hey, you're like a girl, scream and cover herself and maybe run into another room or something along those lines. And that didn't happen. Like they would just have a conversation and the other character would carry on his pathfinding way. Ultimately, like I just felt that came down to the developers not really anticipating people going that far, looking for more of a comical relief out of what is essentially a pornographic game. So Eat Games, I wouldn't 100% recommend this game to anybody, but if it's kind of like your thing to play like those niche, weird, pornographic games, this is a good one. I mean, I'm interested in seeing what Eek's capable of in the long run. I'd like to see them produce something different. Maybe stick to their adult theme, but introduce something where it's not revolving around sex. Like a sword fighting game where the clothes are able to be cut, and then maybe it's more revealing than a normal game, and things along those lines. Like it's like experiments to see like how a community will react to a game where destructible clothing is a thing and they don't censor it, and things are being shown to the player and it has more of like a shock. Not that you're going after something like that, not trying to sleep with the characters. Maybe it's something different. Another thing I liked was that you don't have to sleep with the characters. You could just piss everybody off. You could steal the tablet and get beat up. You could piss Frank off by opening the cabinet and getting beaten up for taking alcohol before he allows you to. I don't like Frank. He's a pervert and he's weird and he needs to go. And he totally had a gay experience and it totally scarred him for life, and I thought that was hysterical. So there was a lot of stuff that I thought was really funny. Characters insinuating bisexuality and things like that. I thought that was good on Eat Games to recognize the LGBTQ community and make references to characters having personalities, things that aren't just there for the player to enjoy. They're actually people who have their own interests and things like that. So Eat Games definitely did a good job humanizing the characters. I can't applaud them enough for when I spoke to a character in the different dialogue options, and it wasn't drastic changes every time. It was very incremental changes in their personality to you and the options that were laid out before you. So Eat Games, I mean, it's not really a game for me. House Party, that is. Again, thank you for the key. Thank you for the opportunity to play the game. I don't want to put too much on screen, so I just kind of did the old-fashioned put-up screenshots trick. But if you don't believe that I played it, you can check my Steam. Same name. I'm Zephyr on Steam. You can see that I played it. Yeah. So if Eat Games watches this, just please heed my advice. Take your skilled team and do something a little bit more. You guys definitely have an opportunity and the assets to write a story or buy a story and produce it. I love to write video games, short indie stories, and I personally have never had one produced. And if an opportunity arose where I could have an adult game produced, I would love to do something that is like psychologically deep thriller, something that isn't afraid to show graphic human body parts and things like that to really captivate an audience and show just how sinister some people can be. I think Eat Games definitely has an opportunity with humanizing their characters and their voice actors, and it's not terrible. They could really do something there that's bigger than themselves, and I really hope that they take the time to do that. I'm actually going to pull up their website real quick and see if they have any other games. No, I'm not seeing anything else. Custom story creator, but it seems like they just produced House Party, which is fine. Like, this is a wonderful project for you guys to start off with. Like, your modeling team is very, very talented. Your animation team is very, very talented. The building looked fantastic. It felt real, although it didn't feel like a college house party to me. Things were too clean. Things were too perfect. Things were mounted all great. I think that was too much, too soon. I think you guys really pushed the envelope there with making the characters seem rich in a way. Yeah, Eat Games can really sit down and do something bigger than this. But this game is in early access, so apparently there's going to be custom stories that are going to be made and added to the game. There's going to be mods that are added to the game. There are going to be more stories and more events unfolding in the game. There's already 2 alternate storylines, as I stated, that I have not checked out. I probably should, just so I can be more critical of the game, but like I said, I just couldn't get into it. Aside from the characters, you guys really don't have anything else going for you. The art wasn't insane. You guys could do a little bit better there. I felt like even at, I believe it was 2K on my monitor, it just didn't feel modern. Although ultimately, like, the physics engine and everything like that worked fine. I thought it was funny. The whole point of the game was the sex, so I thought when you achieved that there would be much more to it, but it really wasn't. It was just kind of there. Other than that, really nothing else to say. So I hope you guys finish this game, make a good amount of money. It's something that's gonna make money. There's gonna be people interested in it. Obviously, I'm making you guys an advertisement for the game. I mean, you guys essentially gave me $15 for free. So I mean, of course I'll make the video. So yeah, I mean, again, if this is something you're interested in, go for it. I have no qualms about adult games. I honestly, personally, this is my opinion part. I personally believe that people should be willing to push the envelope, especially in this regard, because no matter what you believe, we're pushing into a virtual reality space where things are going to get different very rapidly. And to quote Futurama, robosexual. Those kinds of things are already occurring, whether you like it or not. So things like this are just gonna happen, whether you like it or not. And ultimately, it is good for people, especially as social stuff starts to go lower and lower. People are they're just on their phones more frequently. They're on the internet more frequently. They're not communicating vocally. This game shows how awkward you truly are, and when you're sitting there and you're like, I have no idea what to choose, and then you're like, oh, I chose this and the character reacted this way, because you don't know the character. It really helps with showing, like, you as a person in a weird way. So yeah, there's that. And I wouldn't say it's psychological by any means, because it's just save, load, save, load, save, load until you get the correct option or whatever you're looking for. Or it's find a guide online and follow the guide to the end and reap the rewards, as it were. But it's a video game. Like, ultimately, like, when the sex scene occurred, I was just like, it's a video game. That was it. So yeah, House Party. I don't want to give it a final review because it's in early access. I just want Eat Games to make something else. I want them to make something with their team that's bigger than this. Maybe like a 4-hour RPG with like characters. Like they can make all the characters have dialogue amongst each other. They can make a real living world with the AI that they have, where the characters are interacting with each other. And maybe everybody's playthrough is different, because when a option is selected, that it permanently changes that artificial intelligence interaction for the rest of the game. So where one character and another character might fall in love and get married and buy a house in one person's story arc, and then you no longer have an option to wed that character. They clearly have an idea of how to code this, so another person might marry that girl and have children with that person in an RPG simulation. I don't know what kind of game you would produce. I would think medieval RPG. Medieval RPG is really where I'm going with this. I don't know why I stick to the medieval RPG. I feel like that's like everybody's fantasy in one way or another, like a LOTOR kind of like fantasy world where you could survive and live. A survival game, there you go. It's like you literally have to survive, and there's characters all around, and you can find men to follow you and create a tribe, and there's like religion and cults and things like that, and you can kind of manipulate the world around you and maybe be a polygamist or a monogamist if you can get the dialogue options correct to change the religion to that way, and you're nobody and then you're somebody. I don't know. I just feel like you're really undermining your staff. And I understand, like, I'm sure you guys busted your ass to make this game. I'm sure countless and countless and countless of hours was put into this game. I'm not undermining you in any way in that regard. I just think that if you guys get the money, do something beyond this. Like, really show some form of game-changing skill. Okay? Like, experiment. Don't follow the norm. You're already proven yourself to not follow the norm with developing this game. And there's a dime a dozen porn games. Dime a dozen, but they make so much money because whether you like it or not, you've played one or two of them before in your life. I don't care who you are. Whether it's on your phone or your computer or just on the browser, you've looked at them, you've seen the ads, and you're like, is that real? And you Googled it, and you sat there and you played it for like 5 to 10 minutes, and then you're like, okay, I'm good. I don't want anybody to catch me. Blah, blah, blah. We all know it. So again, Eat Games, if you're 18 years or older, check out their website, games.eeskllc.com. I guess I can put that in the description when I'm done making this. With that said, I'll talk to you guys later.